Welcome back to Evolution Woodworks. Today I'm going to show you how I made this sign using a V-Carve inlay process with our Genmitsu 4040 Pro, and we'll answer the question, is that machine actually up to doing quality V-Carve inlays? Stick around.
The ultimate goal for learning this process is to actually do inlays in end grain cutting boards. So the first thing I had to do was build an end grain cutting board. I grabbed some walnut and maple off the shelf, ripped it into strips, and glued it up in an edge grain pattern. After leaving it in the clamps for the glue to dry, I was over to the drum sander to clean things up. Then back to the table saw to cut everything into strips for the end grain pattern. Since this is just going to be a sign on the wall, I actually only went to 1 inch on the full thickness so that it didn't waste a lot of wood. Then back to the clamps, back to the glue, rinse and repeat. Smoothed everything up one more time in the drum sander, then went on to the computer to make sure I had all the programming set up properly. First, a quick test to make sure it's going to fit on the board, and then onto the V-carving. After the V-carve was complete, I moved on to the 1/4 inch end mill to do the clearance passes. Now with the socket cut out, I can move on to the maple and make the plug. Here I'm just cleaning up some wood fibers off the edges with the knife to make sure everything will fit together nice. If you look real close here, you can actually see some issues with the cut that we're going to talk about later. After making sure we had a very good coating of glue, I put everything together, tapped it tight with a hammer, then put it in the 20-ton press overnight to let the glue set. The next day, it was back to the CNC machine for a clearance cut, and of course back to the drum sander for the final passes. After running through from 80 to 220 grit on the hand sander, I moved on to the finish. Did 2 coats of tung oil, followed up by a coat of our board butter, wax, and mineral oil mixture.
All right, that's going to wrap it up for this project. I just finished putting the last coat of wax on this board, and it's actually looking pretty good. So did we answer the question, can we do a perfect V-Carve inlay with our 4040 Pro? Yes and no. I did this little sample piece before I got into the big one, obviously, and the glue lines on this are perfect. There's no gaps. You can't see any. There's no issues with this one at all. It's a nice, solid, full depth inlay. This one's hollow. So that tells me we didn't get a full depth inlay. And you can see some glue lines pretty bad around the outside of some of the details on this one. I think this is more of a software bit selection issue than an actual problem with the machine cutting the details out. I used a 1/4 inch end mill to my clearance passes to try to hog out as much as I could. What I found in the end was the 1/4 inch bit and the V-Carve bit didn't actually come together like I thought they would. I don't believe the V-Carve actually went to full depth. And the 1/4 inch bit was digging way deeper into the wood than the V-Carve did. I thought the software was going to take care of that since it decides which bit does what. But it doesn't look like it actually did the overlaps like I was hoping it would. So in the end, even with a 20-ton press on this thing, I didn't get a full depth inlay. and I left a lot of really bad glue lines. Some around the chisel and the hammer here. I actually tried to pick out with a knife and tap in some plug to try to fix it. As far as the machine goes, I think it did a very good job. I slowed the machine way down. It was less than 50% of its normal speed for those bits to do this and make sure I got all the details right. So, making this board took 2 days of CNC machine running, and that's not exactly profitable, but in the end, it is a $600 machine. If you can do this at all with that machine, I'm pretty impressed with that, actually, especially knowing that before we changed that XZ axis out, that thing couldn't even cut a straight line. So I'm pretty happy with where we are on that right now. This, I'm going to go back to the drawing board. This one's going to be a sign. We're going to hang it up here on the wall of the shop. No big deal. If that were a high-end cutting board for a customer, obviously we're not going to let that lead with that kind of quality. So we got to figure this out, work on that software, see if I can come up with a better system, maybe change the bits, go to an 1/8" bit, and we'll just keep playing with it, see how it goes. That's going to wrap this one up. If you like the content we're putting out here, please consider going down there and hitting that subscribe button. We need all the subscribers we can get to let YouTube know that we're doing a good job. And we'll see you on the next. Thanks for watching.